I think there's a fundamental difference in dealing with these situations whenever you have a kid or you have children and it's just a failed relationship on its own. It's weird because it's like there's two different ways to approach it. A lot of the hurt and the bitterness and the anger and the emotions generally come from the same place. But the big difference is whenever you don't have something that connects you to your ex, really, like either a business or children, you still get caught up in the experience, right? I mean, you'll see that people who are struggling with this they're still struggling, And I think when you have kids, it changes the perspective a bit because you know that you can't really get away from the person. There's still a connection there. But you can look at other channels and videos and forums and stuff, and you'll see people who don't have kids who are still struggling. And you can look at it and go, well, wait a minute, why? I mean, why is somebody who isn't connected or still connected with a narcissistic person, not just to be skipping to the hills to be happy about it? And it kind of goes back with the video I did the other day, basically talking about that you would think that as soon as you've escaped, that you would, just be grateful that you escaped. The problem is, or the tough reality of this is you still have to process those emotions, right? You still have to process how in the world was this an illusion? How was this bad? And make your own peace with it. Now, for us that have kids that have been connected with somebody, it's real easy to go, oh, well, that'd be easy to make peace with it, And the problem is, or the reality is because, and the reason is because we have a whole nother set of nightmare scenarios that are still going on. And it's weird because it's all about perspective. It's all about how you look at it. And this rolls into the whole recovery process of it because it's about that as well. Now, I'm not saying that, you're going to just be able to wake up one morning and just go, change your perspective and heal yourself, right? I mean, you're going to have to put work into it and you're going to have to process all this and make sense of it all. But here's the thing, and this is the experience that I had. I mean, I went through the anger hurt phase of this and the bitterness phase, and I even moved into, just being completely dumbfounded that somebody could act a certain way, completely in total disregard for their own children. But at the end of the day, what happens is you start to change your perspective and how you think about these things. And for me, that pivot point was realizing I didn't want to feel broken anymore. I didn't want my ex still stuck in my head, and I wanted my life back. And what I'll tell you is even whenever I had those epiphanies, even whenever I had those realizations, it was still really hard. I remember having conversations with my therapist saying, I want this to stop. How do I get this to stop? What do I have to do to make it stop? And the sad reality of it is that it's like everyone's journey is a little bit different, and it won't stop until you're ready for it to stop. Now you can look at that and go, well, wait a minute, what the hell does that mean? Because I'm ready for it to stop right now, right? But there's a difference to it. You really have to get to a place to where you're like, okay, I'm done. I'm ready to let it go. I'm ready to take the energy I'm focusing on this toxic mess and move it towards something positive. And even when you get to that point, there's still work that has to be done. I mean, it's not going to be one of those things where it's going to be, a bowl full of rainbows right after that, but it slowly starts to get better after that. You slowly start to realize and stop yourself, right? I mean, and this ties in with the absolute thinking and the black hole thinking and the hybrid no contact and on all those different techniques. But what ends up happening is that you make a decision, you start going down that way, and you slowly reframe your perspective, what your priorities are, and you get to the point where you're like, I just don't want that in my life. I was answering a comment earlier today, and somebody was talking about a horror movie, making an analogy of it. And I know the movie they're talking about, but I made a comment. I just said, well, I don't want that in my life anymore. I don't want chaos. I don't want to put anything negative into my life. And I think that's where you get, right? You make that decision where you're like, this isn't what I want anymore. I want something different, and I'm going to work to get what I want. And I'm going to work to build that environment for myself, and I'm going to work to build that environment for my kids. And you change your focus. And the crazy part is when that happens, when you do that, when your ex does things that would get to you before, it doesn't really bother you. I mean, I was chatting with some people on the Discord the other day about a test for my middle daughter. She needs to take a $70 or $50 test, and the mom won't pay for it, doesn't have any money or whatever. And before, that used to make me so angry that of how much money she was getting and how she wasn't working, and I could just get myself all tense and all stressed about it. And now it's just entertaining. It's like, wow, it's this pattern that remaining the victim, remaining this, poor person who can't get a job, who's gone, who whatever she's trying to paint herself at, that's what's important. Doing the right thing, and then even just having the joy of being able to help your kids or doing something like that, it's not part of it. It's part of that other illusion. Now, I'm not saying for you guys out there who are struggling, because early on I was struggling. When the kids would ask to do things, there literally wasn't the ability for me to pay for it. So, and then that makes it even harder, right? Whenever you know that what's going on, your kids don't, and you can't, and you can't really do anything about it. So I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about, as you start making your peace with this, and as you start realizing that every time something happens, if you allow yourself to get angry, if you allow yourself to get bitter about it, all it's doing is it's basically letting it into your heart. It's letting it corrupt your environment. I was talking with another person the other day about a different situation, but along the same lines. It's like these negative things are in their life, and it's like, does it really pertain to where you're going now? In that particular situation, it wasn't going to be a connection. It was like, okay, you could break free. It's like an example, if you're dealing with somebody at work and you finally found another job, you don't need to think about the other person anymore. Just focus on where you're going, focus on the positive, focus on those positive possibilities, and start phasing the other stuff out of your life. It's really tough though, because you get so wrapped around what the other person is doing or has done to you, or how they've betrayed you, or how they've just basically been childish or mean, or you can run down the laundry list of stuff, and you need to be aware of it. I mean, you don't necessarily want to just be like, oh, it's all a bowl full of rainbows and everything is wonderful. I mean, you need to be aware of what's going on, but you don't want to allow yourself to wrap too much of your mind and your time and your soul into that. All right, hopefully that makes sense. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm still kind of feeling a little under the weather, so let me know if I've completely, if I need to wait before I make videos and, start feeling even better. But if you understand what I'm saying, give it a thumbs up, put a comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, sign up for the newsletter at dadssurvivingdivorce.com, and I'll chat with you guys in the next video. Take care.